One, two, three.
1, 2, 3.
No?
Live. Did you
Yes.
connect?
I don't know. And the other one, everything started?
Yes.
Well, just
We are
connect
live.
me
Here
just
we
in
are.
case there is questions.
Here we are.
Just in case there
Do you
are
want to
questions. No, I will do it. It's fun. It's funny. We are all over the place. Hello. Today's guest in Women's Talks is Pedja Jovanovic, my life partner, but also an organizer of Ericsson Coaching in Czech Republic, in Prague. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. We would like to talk about today about the topic how can coaching change yours and your kids' life. And through this interview, we want to introduce you training that is about to happen next month, which is Parent as a Coach,
Okay.
right?
Cool.
So I would like to go a little bit more personal now and ask you if you remember a moment when did you meet with coaching for the first time in your life, maybe as a child.
Well, actually, the first time when I met with coaching was with my father. And do you want me to share the experience?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm coming from a relatively small town in south of Serbia. It's not that small, but comparing to Belgrade, Prague, yes, it's small. And I was about to leave my hometown and move to Belgrade to attend to go to one of the best specialized school for maths in the world. And I didn't want to go because like I have friends, I'm used to, and all these things. What we all experience as kids. Like I don't want to leave and be in this big city alone. And then my father he took me on a hill near the city, and when we were in the bottom of the hill, he asked me, "So what can you see from here?" And I said, "Well, I can see this building. There was a hospital, and I can see this crossroad and some cars, some other buildings." And he said, "Well, okay." So I said, "Why you ask me?" He said, "Well, it doesn't matter. So let's go for a walk." And then we went on the top of the hill, and he asked me, "So what you can see from here?" I can see, well, and I said, "Well, from here I can see everything. I can see same hospital, but from different position. I can see same crossroad, but I can also see my primary school. I can see some other buildings in town. Actually, I can see whole town." And he says, "Well, and can you compare how you see then if you think about staying in Leskovac and moving to Belgrade? What is the difference?" And then for me it was clear, like moving from Belgrade, like I can see many other things that I cannot see when I'm in Leskovac, and then I decided to to leave my hometown, which was a great decision. But actually, he coached me around this topic he didn't know. So, thank you.
And how old were you?
I was eighth grade of in primary school. I don't know how it is
14
now.
approximately.
I know it's changed. I was around 14 years old, maybe 13,
Mhm.
13, 14, something like that. Yeah, 13, 13, 14 years old.
So you would say that your parents did use coaching approach?
My father did.
Your father did?
Yeah.
So you have more of experiences like
Yeah,
that?
I have lots of experiences.
And how do you use coaching when it comes to bringing up your own kids?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Just sorry. Before you answer, I just want to tell you if you have any question about what we are talking about or the training, just write it down. Our conversation may trigger something in you, so just don't hesitate and ask your questions. Sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, and some of my friends know that I really have systemic approach to Nicholas' upbringing, and that for me, his main task here at his age is to play, to have fun, lots of fun, to jump, because this is how brain develops fastest in this age. And my goal here in this stage is to help him to overcome any kind of limiting beliefs that he gets through his childhood from other kids or from ourselves. So that while like kill the beast while it's small, like, and then not to leave that beliefs to grow and then limit him later in future. I mean, definitely he will have some, but those that are obvious that we can work immediately with them. And I have this great example. Actually, I have a video I showed you when we were at the pool this summer. We were with my friends, Pedja and his partner, and we were in his hometown. And Nicola came, and I was in the pool, and he had this rukavki, yeah. And I asked him, so come on, jump. He says, well, I cannot. I said, why not? Well, I don't know how to swim. And I said, well, how do you know you don't know? Well, other kids that was there was afraid to jump. And okay, I could force him. I could motivate him with ice cream. Like for ice cream, he would jump anyway. Yeah. And but like I wanted like to talk to him, and we talked like maybe 15 minutes. It was just a conversation. It was coaching conversation, and after 15 minutes, he took both of them, and he went 20 meters there, and he said, "I know how to swim." And he was, of course, and he doesn't have skill. And I was waking him in a pool, and he was running and jumping without this pool. It was like a great example of applying coaching in like daily life instead of motivating with like some external reward, which doesn't work.
But what happened in these 15 minutes in the
Well,
conversation?
it was a conversation where I applied some of the things that do with our clients. Well, I asked him, so like, well, you say that you don't know. He says yes, and I said, well, can you explain me how this swimming actually looks like? And he started to explain me how he should do. And I said, well, it's with one hand or with both hands? Well, with both hands. And what are you doing with your legs? And with my feet, I should do this. And then I invited him to explain me how swimming actually looks like, the thing that he claims that he doesn't know. And he described everything, and I asked him, so what else you need to know in order to be able to swim? He said, like, I don't know. I know how to swim. And I said, so what will you do? And he went and he was running and jumping in the water. So we changed the belief, but we now need to work on his skills. So this is what we were doing during the summer break. So next year he will, summer holiday. So next year he will definitely be able to swim, because now he has a belief, and now we work with some mechanics of swimming. So this is one example.
So when I take the example you said about your own childhood and you being parent, and the whole core of coaching is asking questions, right? This is the main difference between coaching and the traditional way of parenting.
Well, this is one of the ways, but there are many others that are even more important. So first thing is working with your own fear before you start to interact with kid. If I get frustrated why he doesn't, because he doesn't want to get into the water because I'm there. This frustration I will just transfer on him. So first I need to deal with myself and get in this state of neutrality, so that he becomes relaxed, so that I can ask him questions. So this is one thing, because we transfer these emotional states to our kids. Same thing was when he was jumping from these big stones. You were there. First I need to calm down, and then when I was calm, he was calm, and then he was ready to jump. So first thing is working with your own emotional state, and then trigger that state inside of kid. Focus on the end outcome, and then the last thing is asking questions in the domain where kid can do thing by himself or herself. doesn't need any kind of external support for it.
Mm-hmm. Can we just go through it again if somebody wants to write it down? So
Okay, so
deal
first
with
thing
your
is deal with your own emotional
Mhm.
state as a parents. So we are frustrated, and I'm nervous, and I think that he should do something. So if I'm working on my own emotional state first, then I can transfer that emotional state to my kid. So second thing, ensure that there is this state of calmness or curiosity for kid, because kid cannot be calm. It's not regular state, because if he's calm, he'll go to sleep. This state of curiosity, then put his attention or her attention on what actually the end outcome is, not of what kid is afraid of or what kid doesn't want. And then the last thing is, I mean, you can ask questions or you can just discuss in that area, and then leave them space in those areas where kids are capable to manage things by themselves, really to act. Don't help them. I mean, there is this thing when he falls down, I say, well, great, you did this. This is amazing how you fall, and he gets frustrated. It's not good, I fall. And like I want to reduce this pressure of him, because he is capable to stand up. So it's good. You did it very well. And then now he learned he he learned that thing, that falling is good.
Mhm.
So it's my state, kid state. Focus on the end outcome, and inspire kid to move by himself or herself, and whatever result kid gets, it's great. It's a result.
Mhm.
Don't praise your kids for results, but for all the activities that happened before. And sometimes results will be good, and sometimes it will be bad. But I want to encourage him to repeat some activities, and not to be focused only on the end outcome, if he will win or lose or whatever.
Mhm. So why do you think coaching is the right tool
I mean,
when it comes to parenting?
so it's a great tool for in those areas where kid doesn't need mentor anymore, doesn't need tutor, doesn't need the teacher. So if he learns how to deal with these situations by himself, this situation will repeat, and I will not be around, and he will know how to deal with it. So that's the thing. In those areas where we don't need to teach them, it's way more efficient to use coaching. Of course, I will not coach him with swimming, because I need to teach him how to swim. Some things about it, but I will definitely use elements of coaching. I will encourage him to put his hand below the water. I will encourage him I don't know, to jump and things like that. These are elements that are needed. But at the end, he needs to learn some things, how this process works.
Mhm. Would you say that coaching helps kids to develop self-confidence?
Yes, absolutely.
That this is one of the main benefits.
Because
of
how
coaching.
how it helps, if there is a parent who doesn't get frustrated around a topic. This is he doesn't develop self-confidence because of success, but because calm parent. I'm trying, I'm doing my best, I'm failing, and then there is no frustrated parent around that topic, whatever the kid is doing. So there are borders around that borders. Whatever you do, just do it within that area. And if a kid fails, makes mistake, whatever, doesn't produce his result, and you start to scream, this breaks self confidence, because parent kid will not stop loving you. Kid will not challenge your way of thinking. Kid will challenge his or her own way of thinking. So if I'm calm, he will definitely be okay with me in any way, but then he will be okay with himself.
So would you say that this training, parent as a coach, will also help the parent not just teach you some skills, how to communicate with your children and stuff, but it will also help parent how to stay calm and coach themselves
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
in interaction with the child, in interaction with
being
the child.
uh,
So is this another aspect or benefit of this
yes.
training?
So what is the idea with this parent as a coach? So first thing is understanding myself better and my mechanisms where I'm not patient or I'm not focused enough or I don't have enough time or whatever. So I have to understand that there is such a time and what to do, how to basically get into this coach position. Then second thing, understand how kids operate and from their perspective how world looks like and especially this interaction with parent. And then learn a basic coaching skills that we can apply not just with kids but anywhere. But this primary focus is on kids.
So you will learn how to understand yourself,
Correct.
understand your child,
Correct.
and some coaching skills that you
Yeah.
can use while upbringing your child, but also in communication with other people as well. But this is focused mainly on parent and child communication.
Correct. So, like, if I understand the way of how kids operate better, then I use some certain approach with them. Definitely, that approach I can then apply in any other situation in life.
Okay, I would like to also remind one more time that if you have any question about the training parent as a coach or for Pedja, any kind of question for Pedja, just now is the time to ask. Because how long we have been shooting? Do you have?
17
7
minutes.
17. So we have some time to go, and it would be great if you ask any question about the training or for Pedja. Can you tell us something else about this training? Anything you feel that it's important for people to know?
Well, I think the biggest benefit of this training is basically understanding differences between kids and adults. That kids, from kids' perspective, the world looks differently. Well, they don't perceive time as most of adults do. There is no past, there is no future, there is just now. And in this now moment, everything happens. And once when we have this understanding, then we can do something with it. So we will talk a little bit about brain, about different hormones, how they operate, and then people will. There is this book, A Whole Brain Child, like how to, in different stages of kids' development, approach your kids so that you maximize their learning potential in that stage. For example, like many, I see some, I will not say many, but some of my friends, they're starting very early to teach people, kids, their cognitive skills, like foreign languages, like that, like even our kid. I mean, I'm sorry, but like they have in kindergarten classes of English language, which is bullshit. It's a 4 years old kid, 3 years old kid. They are not cognitive, so it should just jump, run. And this is the best way to develop brain later because the new neural connections are created in this stage more effectively through such type of activities. And then later, as a kid is going into this age of, I don't know, 5, 6, then we can do some cognitive things like new language or whatever. Even it's and also what is important at this stage that kids are faster learning through association. So if you just expose your kid to many different words, doesn't need to be foreign language, can be your own mother tongue, but just a different word, so that kids has more association. Through this association, kids again develop new neural connections, and then later when the capacity for learning is bigger, then kid can learn learn faster. So things like that, and then we will talk what is happening in different stages. So then maybe and how to approach them, what and also how to put boundaries around around them, because like a kid is like a big white wall, and if I tell to someone like paint on this wall, like first question will be where to paint. So we need to put some kind of border, paint in this area. So how to put a border around where kids should do whatever he or she wants. So these are all practical things that we as parents are meeting facing on a daily basis.
Thank you for sharing. We don't have any question now, so I would like to ask you, our viewers, if there are some parents watching us, what is the most effective tool you have been using so far when it comes to upbringing your children? So I would like you to share with us, if you can write us, what is the tool you are using to bring up your child and you have the biggest success with. And I just forget my question. No, it's not written there. What age do you think is the best to start with coaching? That there is a certain age where, just giving a right, direct, what is the word? Direction or comment. So where is the age where you can stop with just these direct comments and stuff, and you can start to use coaching approach?
So how I see it, I think that it's not that we want to remove command and control and replace it with coaching. I say, well, there are areas where we will use command and control, and then there are areas where we will use coaching. And as kid is growing older, there will be more coaching, less command and control. But where when it comes to upbringing, kid and parent are responsible for kid. It's not vice versa. We are not equal. It's my job as parent is not to be his friend, his parent, and I need to prepare him for life, and I need to give him love and discipline. That's all. I mean, there is nothing else around it. So when it comes to command and control, there should be elements of discipline, because we live in a world where discipline really works. If we make some kind of crazy thing here, we put the garbage when we were renovating our apartment for a few days outside, and we were punished. So. So I don't want to replace, to say one doesn't work, the other works, but just to understand in what areas coaching is better, and how I can reduce command and control as much as possible to some minimum. So when to start with coaching? As soon as a kid has a capability to do things. I mean, I will not coach kid around cognitive abilities when kid is not capable to, use the brain in that way. But what I can do, like for example, how to introduce numbers to kid. We are jumping, and he likes to jump. I said, okay, let's jump. And he's climbing on my shoulders, and he's jumped from my shoulders. And I asked him, so how many times you would like to jump? And he answers literally like all times, like all the time I want. So okay, tell me how much it is, how many times? And he says, well, this is the number. I said, well, what is that number? And then this is a game, because I said, then he learns that this is 10. And when he jumps once from a shoulder, there is one less. And how many fingers are there? And then, look, this is a learning through game. So is it coaching? Well, it's not coaching, it's teaching, but it has elements of coaching. So it started like when he was 3 years old. I mean, I definitely didn't coach him when he was 2 years old, but the moment when he started to be able to do things by himself, some elements of coaching are included. And now there is more coaching, and again there is a command and control as well, but less than he was 2 years old. And as the time progresses, it will be more coaching, and less command and control, of course, in those areas that coaching is possible.
Would you say that this differs the amount of coaching you can apply on a kid based on the kid's personality
No.
type, or is
No.
the same for all or
It's
type
this-
of personalities?
Yeah, so it's just a different approach. So
Mhm.
coaching is approach, and different kids, different people have different triggers, have different needs, different internal motivation, different perception. So I will apply coaching approach, but adjust it to a personality of kid or client. So in that sense, like. It's not about coaching works with all personalities.
And would you give us some example how would you use coaching to more sensitive child?
Mm-hmm.
A child, you know, that like Steffi, for example,
Mhm.
more sensitive,
Mhm.
quick crying.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, how?
Mhm.
What type of coaching would you use?
Well, it's
a child?
as you remember from the beginning of our at the beginning of our conversation. First thing, I need to take care of my own emotion. Then I need to take care of kids' emotion. Then I need to understand what I want to achieve, and then I need to bring curiosity in kid. So do you remember when Sheppy came with from school with this learn I don't know list of all these different types of animals and mammal, I don't know what it was, some big list of different type of animals, and it was just boring, and she was frustrated, and she needed to learn it for tomorrow because I don't know, she somehow didn't finish it on time, and then there was tomorrow was exam or whatever, and you went somewhere. I don't know if you, the two of us left stayed, and she was frustrated. And I said, well, okay, just relax. When you relax, then come, and then we will talk. And then, as long as she's not relaxed, first thing I need to be I need to be relaxed. I left her time that she was furious. It cannot be done. Then she was frustrated. Blah 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 blah. And then at one moment when she was relaxed, we started to talk about it. And for someone who is more sensitive, most probably we need more time for kids to calm down. And from that point we go again. Like, do we know what we want to have? And in that example, I wanted to have a visual map. This was, and she was all the time explaining how she doesn't have time, and of course, with old way of learning that she learned in school, she couldn't finish that thing for one evening. And instead of explaining her how to do in a way that is old and it doesn't work, my focus was okay. Let's see what we want to have at the end, and then we started in a playful way because she's playful. I mean, as any kid, to play with hands, with gestures. And then within, I don't know, half an hour or 40 minutes, she learned it. And it was at the end of school year actually. And in September, when she went back to school, she repeated the same thing, and then teacher asked her to teach a whole class how she learned it. And she drew them this big map, and then teacher said, well, the map will stay there. So the process is the same, but just the amount of time that we allocate for calming the situation, for relaxation is different for different kids. If you have a boy, you can push boy because boy likes to fight, and then you can have a different energy raised than with I don't know, some gentle boy or gentle girl.
Yeah, more sensitive.
Sensitive.
So the part to the coaching process we focus more on is relaxation when it comes to the sensitive child. I have a question here for Pedja. Which coaching from Jokic Danka?
I know that.
Which coaching skills does your kid use with you?
So there was one thing that for me was a big shift is this positive feedback. And I was when I first was introduced with this big research that was done by Gallup at the end of last century and being the beginning of this one, the positive feedback is something that is in the essence of any kind of productivity. I was quite surprised, and then I started to implement it with myself first, then with my colleagues. Of course, I mean, it's not aligned with my personality, but I did a conscious effort in that direction. And when I got a kid, then I started really like to be focused, and on a daily basis, he gets a positive recognition for the activities, not for the end results. So when he does something, which is when there is an effort, I say bravo, 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 bravo for the effort. And at one point, I was tired, and he wanted to play I don't know, monkey or whatever, like some game, jumping, Spider-Man. We are jumping all the time, and I said, Nikki, please give me few moments. I'm really tired. I tried, but it hurts. I need to relax, but I'm trying, but it doesn't work. And he told me, bravo, Tato. Bravo, Daddy. So he uses me positive feedback and recognition for my activities.
Cute.
Yeah. And he was really like 2 or 3 years old. He called me Tato, which is not common in Serbian language. Usually you say Tato.
In Czech, Okay, and so we gave example of for a sensitive kid.
Mhm.
So how the coaching would look like with more dynamic child, like Nicola, more intense.
Yeah, for again, the essence of coaching is establishing trust and establishing relationship where I know I'm in a state which is okay, and then of course I initiate that thing in kid. Okay. So, for example, for Nicola, I can challenge him. I can raise voice, but when he raises a voice, I will not raise my voice over him. I mean, we can scream. Why not? I mean, it's and then from that we can fast go into the state. Okay, let's now calm the situation down. So for me, it's more natural to establish contact with a kid who has whose personality structure is more similar to mine. But always is the same. So first take care about your state, think of your own state, and work on your own state, and then help you to get into the state which is needed for the situation that you're working there.
So would you say as you gave Shippy to space to relax, you know, when she was frustrated, would you also give this kid, because such kind of kid most probably would be angry?
Yes, and I give him.
So you calm yourself, then you see an angry child.
No, like I'm angry. He's angry. Sorry for interrupting.
No.
He's angry, and I ask him immediately. I'm not calming myself because he's more angry than me. And I asked him, so you are angry? And he said, yes. And I said, well, it's good to be angry. And he says, I said, okay, so just take your time and be angry. And later when you can talk, then come to me, I will wait for you. So I give him, how to say, permission to be angry. It's good. He's angry, he's upset, that's good. Just be angry. I will wait for you. Take some time, be angry. And the moment when I tell him take some time, be angry, and just step back, not trying to calm him down, not trying to relax him, he's just very quickly forgets about it, and he's in constructive mode. And then I'm not talking about what was wrong here. I'm asking, so what do we want? And the moment I give him space, like because I can push him in the corner so he cannot move, and I know his personality structure, and if I push him in the corner, he will fight back. So I give him open space so that he can decide by himself what I want him to do.
So you have to give to sensitive child, you have to give space to cry and express fear, whatever kind of emotion is coming, not suppress it, not comment it, just give a space and then move on to what do we want to achieve.
Correct.
Right. Okay, so basically it's the same approach to all personality types, just the different, the reaction of the child under pressure is different.
Correct. And then we need to understand our own reaction under stress. So if I show my natural reaction in the stress, like, and which is too intensive and it goes over Nicholas' emotional reaction, then this is command and control, that he will do whatever I tell him to do. And if I use it all the time, then at one point, I will put so much borders around him that he will not move anywhere. So I give him space that his emotional reaction goes over my reaction sometimes, so that we're the same. We're partners. We're equal in that way.
Okay, we are slowly coming to the end. I think we said a lot about the coaching and training and everything. Is there anything else you would like to mention? And would you like to invite people to the training?
Well, that's the one opportunity that you have here in Prague in October, 19th of October.
From 19th to 21st.
And Marilyn Atkinson from actually president of Erickson College will be here, so it's a great opportunity for people who would like to meet this great lady and also to attend this program, to join us in October. And also we'll have some program in Belgrade next year, but for Belgrade we have time. But also we managed to get dates from Marilyn for February next year. So we're really happy to have her both here and in Belgrade.
I would like to also say that it's a 3 days program from 19th to 21st of October. It's the first time in Prague that is going to be this training, and until 12th of October next week you have still discount from Women's Talks. When you put VM discount in the message when you are signing in, you will get this discount from Adria CZ.
Sure.
So I would say this is all from our side. I think it's a sleepy weather, so nobody wants to be really more interactive. So I wish you great autumn, and I hope to see you all on this training because I will be there. I want to learn about how to be a better parent and how to use coaching in a parenting. So hope to see you all there. Bye.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Stefanka, just not to lose it.